Mia, do you want to do my predictions for me?
You really woke me up for this?
You might be better doing them than me. I wasn't very good last time. Did you just fart? Now, with the Miami Open starting this week, I thought we'd do another predictions video because it is a combined event, and we did it for Indian Wells, and you guys seem to like it.
And I haven't checked my predictions, but I'm sure I did great.
And I'm going to go with Djokovic on the men's side. I think he hasn't lost in America. I don't think he lost in America at all last year. And I thought, yeah, we'll do it again this week for Miami. Let's get into it. So this is a tough one to start with, but I think Rybakina might outperform Swiatek. I know that's a big call. Swiatek's been in really good form, but I'm going to go with Rybakina. If she's healthy, I reckon she could really do well here. For the best qualifier, I'm going to go with Volley Nets. She did really well last week, beating Ons Jabeur, and I reckon that with her draw, she might be able to make some waves. And on the men's side, I'm going to back Klein, because he's been pretty good the last couple of weeks, and has a pretty good draw as well, so I reckon he might be able to do well on the men's side of things for the qualies. For the country, I'm going to go with America again. I mean, Americans in America. It's a super easy thing to pick. So I'm going to go with them to win, and, you know, Goff and Fritz and Tiafoe, Paul, Pegula potentially as well. I reckon the Americans are going to thrive at this event, just like they thrived at Indian Wells. So for the aces, I'm going to go with Zhang, who really hasn't been good lately, but I think the court service suits her, this being similar to the Australian Open. And I'm going to go with Shelton being the hometown hero, and I reckon he's going to have a good run. So he's going to serve the most aces for the men. So this is a bit of an interesting one as well. Sinner, Alcaraz, both played well last week. Of course, they played each other in the semi-finals, but I'm going to go with Sinner at this one. I think Sinner, again, just like the court surface in Australia, I reckon he might be able to thrive here, even if they do play in a potential final. Alright, so for the unseeded runs that I think are going to happen, I'm going to go with Naomi Osaka on the women's side. I think she's got a really good draw, and I reckon that she might be able to progress into that third, fourth round territory. And on the men's side, I'm going to back Ruusuvuori because I think he's been really good here in the past. He also played really well in Australia, and I reckon he can put some wins together here as well. Now, top 10 upsets. This is an interesting one. I'm going to go with Alex de Minaur on the men's side, which is a really weird pick because he's been really, really good lately. But I'm going to go with de Minaur. I don't know why. I just got a bad feeling for Demon this week. And I'm going to go with Sakkari, who, again, played really well last week. But I feel like her draw might be a little bit tough. And coming off those really good wins in Indian Wells, I reckon she might have a bit of a dip. So de Minaur and Sakkari are my upsets this week. So for my dark horse picks, I'm going to go with Kalinskaya on the women's side, and on the men's side, I'm going to go with Khachanov. I reckon he might be able to do a little bit of damage. Did make the semi-finals here last year, so I'm going to pick him as a bit of a random pick there. He hasn't been good lately, so it will be pretty random if he does make it far. So Medi versus Zverev, a little bit of a different one here. I'm going to go with Medvedev. I think Medvedev, he's the defending champion. He played really well last week. So I'm going to go with Medvedev to win this one out of the two and go further than Zverev. Zverev's never really been good in Miami, so I'm going to go with Medvedev instead. My hot take for this one, I reckon we're going to get an unseeded semi-finalist on maybe both the men and the women, or maybe just one or the other. I reckon there's just going to be some random player in the semi-final lineup. For some reason, that's what Miami seems to bring up over the last couple of years. We just get like a one or two random players in the draw. So I'm going to go with a random semi-finalist, an unseeded semi-finalist at one of the two events. Alright, so the semi-final picks, these ones are always the hardest to do, but on the top half of the draw, I'm going to go with Swiatek taking on Osaka. On the bottom half of the draw, I'm going to go with Sabalenka versus Rybakina. I know Sabalenka, we didn't think she was going to play, but she is playing, and I think Rybakina is going to do really well, so those are my picks for the ladies. On the men's side, I'm going to go with Alcaraz taking on Khachanov, and then the bottom half, I'll go with Medvedev versus Sinner. So again, maybe not the craziest picks. I picked three of the top best players for both the men and women, but there are always going to be random players in there as well, so I'm going to go with that lineup for this semi-final. And the champions of the event on the women's side, I'm going to go with Rybakina. Last week, she didn't get to play, so I have to have faith in her. And I'm going to go with Sinner on the men's side. I know that I picked Djokovic last week. We don't need to talk about that. But I'm going to pick Sinner. I think that this court, being a little bit quicker, might favor him a little bit more. And even though he has injury problems, I'm not too concerned. So there it is. They are my predictions. Please be nice in the comments. I
don't want to read bad things, just all nice comments. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see any negativity.
Let me know down in the comments below who your predictions are and who do you think's going to win and all that kind of stuff. And we'll go through these after the Miami Open. We'll review how many I got right
and how many I got wrong.